Dobrze?
Moment, chwila. Moment. Hello, this is the second day of the World Media Economics and Management 2025 conference. Right now is the time to welcome our first guest in our television studio of the conference, Professor Mercedes Medina. Professor Medina is a full-time professor at the Marketing and Media Management Department of the School Communication at the University of Navarra, Spain. Welcome. It's our great honor to have you with us in the studio, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Let's move on to the first question. You took part in the debate between academia and media industry. Why do we need each other was the title. My question is how to cooperate with business, especially the media business.
Well, that's a very interesting topic. That probably this is the sense of the School of Communications in the world, to prepare the students to work in the field, in the media field. So we need to cooperate because we need to understand what is going on in media companies, what is going on the world that they have to tell when they are working there. And we need to understand what are the challenges of media companies. And I think that what we have in the...
We have the technical problems. Let's see what will happen. Please try to think about media management, and we will come back to the transmission. Forgive me for the problem.
Technical problems.
Yeah, technical problems.
We have to solve.
Ordinary situation.
Absolutely.
On the television.
We have to solve them.
Yeah. Maybe we will start one more time simply. Okay. In a minute. Something went off.
it okay? Is it okay?
Krzysztof, is it okay? No.
Hello?
No.
Hello? Yeah, it's working.
Did you say something?
Yes, I'm saying that hello. I'm asking for if it's working. Hello? Hello, hello? Hello?
Began. So if you are not at the room, they will start probably, and then you will come back. You will say what happened.
Could you say something?
Hola, hello, I'm here.
And one.
I'm so
thing.
happy.
I must synchronize them and we'll be set. Could you stand up for a while?
Absolutely.
I just have to. One moment, it's searching the frequencies.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Something is different than yesterday. The
Yes,
frequency is
maybe-
busy,
yeah.
and there could be no connection, and we don't know
maybe
why.
The television is up, so they took our frequencies.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
search
For another.
frequencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to have the sound clear, not the microphone.
Yeah, because you
there,
know.
because you would have a reverb. And could you say something?
Hello, I'm
Hello.
here.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
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 This is the constant problem when you are not on the cable. Yes, you know, the old ways of working were more stable. When you had the cable, then you were independent. If you are without the cables, you have these frequencies, and sometimes there are too many users of the frequency, and that is why probably we had this fuck up. Yeah.
So we are starting in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Hello. This is the second day of the World Media Economics and Management 2025 conference. My name is Monika Kordoń-Dębecka, and this is my privilege to welcome one more time our guest, first guest, great guest, Professor Mercedes Medina. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. A pleasure.
Professor is a full-time worker at the Marketing and Media Management Department of the School of Communication at the University of Navarra, Spain. Let's start. You took a part in the debate between academia and media industry. Why do we need each other was the title of the panel. My question is how to cooperate with business, especially with the media?
Well, we are part of the same chain value, so value chain. So, we teach students to become workers for the media industry. So that means that we have to understand very well what is going on the media and what are the real problems they have, how to work there. So we need each other. So it's impossible to think the academia in media studies separately from the field for the media companies.
Mm-hmm. And you said we have to teach students how to teach them media management, because this is not easy. Teaching a journalistic workshop, I think it's easiest thing, but management, media management, this is very complicated story.
It is indeed, because mostly our students come to the school just to tell stories, not to be managers, not to be executives. But we need to teach them that at the end they are going to be freelance or they are going to work in a company, so they need to understand the main factors of the decisions that will happen. And sometimes they will be entrepreneurs and they will have their own companies. So and as well, they need to work with others. So team working is very important, and companies are organizations to understand how everything works and is coordinated is very important for their job. So it's a teaching that is in a long-term teaching, but after some years they realized that it was important.
Yeah, on television you cannot be a solo player. You have to know, you have to be aware that without other people that are surrounding you, you mean nothing. Yeah, I think your students will understand it perfectly. Third question: what challenges are public media facing around the world today? And is AI the main problem, or something else is the problem, the real problem for the public broadcasters right now?
Definitely, I think that something else. They need to understand what AI is and how it works, and the challenges and the limitations. But I would say that the problem of public media have to do with the funding, where the money comes from, and enough money, enough budget to produce quality programming for the audiences, and they are to produce programs that they are expensive or they are not very successful, but they are needed for the society. So they need to have this funding, and also they need to be independent from the government, from the politics. That's the most important thing, and I don't think in Europe we have very few examples that are really independent, because they don't depend on the government, like the BBC, for example, that depends on the parliament, and it has to be critical. They have to be critical with the government, with what is going on in the society, what is going on in the country, and sometimes they are not, because they depend very much from the government, and they have this stress and these limitations, so the lack of freedom at the end.
I think the independence of the public media, this is in the future connected with the activeness of European Union. If European Union do something, then probably public media outlets would have more freedom, but this is probably the future. Let's hope. Let's hope. Summing up our conversation with some joyful moment. This is your third time in Warsaw, yes? Today's surprises, anything surprise you today? Or
Definitely. The first time I was here, it was in 1992 or 3. Two, I think it was 2. And I mean, it's a completely different city. Now it's full of big buildings, beautiful ones, and they weren't before. I mean, now it's a big city, actually, full of business, full of life, full of new companies, new business, and I think that it has developed a lot. So, I mean, it has the beauty of the Warsaw as it was, because it's a beautiful city with beautiful churches, with beautiful places, and it's very well restored. But it still have this newness of the big cities. So yeah, I think it's a very nice city, and you must be proud of it.
Yeah, we are. So I wish you a pleasant stay during the conference and after it. Thank you very much, Professor Medina, for your great conversation, and we are waiting for the next our guest.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Bueno.
I want to welcome our second guest, Professor Mark Deuze. Professor is a worker and professor at the Media Studies at the University of Amsterdam's Faculty of Humanities, having served as its Director of Graduate Studies and Director of the International Research School for Media Studies. His publications include more than 100 papers in academic journals and 14 books, including most recently titled Happiness in Journalism. I am a former journalist and I can say many things about being television journalist. I could say satisfaction, moments of joy, but happiness. Can you be happy working as a journalist?
You can, in the sense that the reason why many people become or want to become journalists are reasons that make them happy, right? To tell stories that matter, to inform the public, to, you know, engage with social injustice and all those beautiful things. And that is officially what journalism is all about. The problematic parts of that is that when you start doing that kind of work, you quickly realize that that beautiful motivation can also make you sick, make you unhappy, in the sense that the industry tends not to be organized to really facilitate all those beautiful dreams. There's deadlines to be made, there's limited budgets, there's almost never enough time, there's very few good contracts and good jobs. The quality of the management is not necessarily always good. There's a lot of competition, and the intensity of all the deadlines that you're working with is both exhilarating, right? To get a story out, you know, just before the show goes on air or before a paper gets printed or published online. Very exciting, but ultimately also it can become very unhealthy. And I would say that so happiness in journalism is to appreciate the reasons why you want to become a journalist to begin with, and to understand how the industry is structured in ways that make achieving those ideals difficult, and then finding a way to navigate through that.
Yeah, great to have you with us, because this awareness is extremely important, that we tell in the academia students how it looks like outside, yes, that they have the dreams, but they have to think about the reality at the same time.
Sure.
Okay, the second question. You are the keynote speaker during the debate titled The Organization Paradox in the Management, considering the health and well-being of the company's clients and co-workers in media and entertainment. What is this paradox?
Well, at the heart of an organization paradox is the conundrum, the problem that whatever you want to achieve in a creative environment, in a media company, an entertainment setting, in a newsroom, needs to be carefully organized. Of course, it has to have certain rules and protocols and structures in place in order to make everything work. At the same time, because of the fact that it's a creative environment, you can't over-organize it. At some point you have to set people free and let it run its course and let talent be what it is and flourish. And that balance is very delicate. And that doesn't just affect, you know, the way we tell stories. It also means that, for example, if you care about the health and well-being of the people in that industry, you have to carefully organize that, a discussion that normalizes a conversation about health, that it's okay to say, hey, sometimes I struggle at work. But if you organize that too much, too many protocols, too many rules, people will feel unsafe to express themselves, and you actually won't solve anything. So the organization paradox is the paradox between organizing something and not organizing something.
Balance, this is the key word.
Balance is key, yes.
Yeah, okay. Third question, how to maintain healthy relationships, balance in the media and entertainment industry? Is it even possible, to talk about managing well-being in the media, and how to do it at all?
Well, That's a really important question, and it kind of depends who you're asking the question to, right? I mean, there's an individual element to this, so to help people appreciate that working in a creative capacity is beautiful, it's a dream, it's for many, right? It's a passion.
Yeah.
But to also be mindful that this is not who you are, right? This is what you do. And there's a really important distinction there. But then we can also talk about managing well-being in organizations, at a university or in a news organization or an advertising agency, where, and we see that that is quite underdeveloped as a capacity in management. But there are industry sectors where, for example, employee health, well-being, happiness, is part of a key performance indicator. In other words, it's not just how many products you sell or how many services you offer or how many clicks or hits or viewing figures you have. Part of your company doing well formally is about whether the people in the company are happy doing the work. And so in other words, that can be part of a professional management approach. And once you've agreed that that is part of what makes your company healthy or good, then we can start talking about, so how would that look like? And that's when the organization paradox comes back into play.
I have a question not connected directly with the topic, but I think it's interesting for many participants of this conference. You are the frontman of the band Skin Flower.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And yesterday you had a concert for the participants at the Hard Rock Cafe in Warsaw. What is your impression? What are your impressions after the concert? Was it good?
Well, you're asking an important question because was it good? Was it a good concert? I mean, it raises an interesting discussion. Like in a creative field, whether that's music or journalism, when do you know whether you've done something well? It's very hard to say, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. I mean, it's an incredible privilege for me to combine my two careers, the one as being an academic and the other one as being a musician. And of course, my musician life is a life for fun. It's not where I earn my living. So that's an enormous privilege that I have there. But to be able to combine it, that in itself makes it great. You know, the people at the Hard Rock Cafe, the organization of the conference, they worked so hard to organize everything for us. We had amazing equipment and lights and sound and all this freedom to express ourselves. The people at the conference were incredibly kind and welcoming. I'm sure for most of them this was not their cup of tea, not their favorite music. But so many were kind enough to then later on come and express their thanks, or that they enjoyed simply that this is possible too. And for me, to be very honest,
Yes.
that is the most important thing, is that I can, by doing what I do, I can show people a model of what being an academic is that is perhaps not common, but possible.
Yeah.
And of course, very importantly, that there's life outside of work.
Yeah, of course, you are breaking the stereotype of
Maybe
the
a little bit,
scientist.
maybe a little bit.
Not a little bit. Professor, thank you very much for the time. And
Thank you.
I wish you a pleasant stay in Warsaw. I hope see you soon.
It always is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, one more time, third time. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome María Elena Gutiérrez Rentería from Universidad Panamericana from Mexico. Great to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thanks to you, Monica. Thanks to the University of Warsaw. It's a beautiful place, beautiful conference, and you work in an excellent way.
Thank you very much. I'll introduce you and present your work. You deal with Spanish language media, but also has an Anglo-Saxon perspective. Do you see the differences in approaches to media management in a cultural or historical dimension?
Okay, in that sense, the CEOs or the media managers or the media leaders in my country, looks the same as the Anglo-Saxon or other media from the United States, or in that sense, we don't find any kind of differences. The different cultural difference, yes, because the Hispanic or Latin American media leaders are more close to the people who works in media, and also they work more closely with advertisers and all the people, because our culture, we are more close to people than to keep distance with the people who works with us.
Okay. Is the media sector keen to collaborate with the academia in Mexico? So are the scientists, Mexican scientists, close to managers or journalists in Mexico, or there is a distance between them?
Now it's changing. Now the industry is trying to be more close with academia. Even in my university, in the School of Communication, we have a strong relationship with the local media, and we are trying to collaborate together in order to give the best for our students, and also trying to make some kind of projects close with the industry related to do the best in this era, as we know well, is very challenging. And otherwise, in my field of study, which is media economics and media management, I am working in a study of related with journalism, and with the University of Oxford, from the study of Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, and I represent Mexico. In that sense, the journalists in Mexico or the media companies look in me and trying to keep the dialogue with them in order to understand what's happening with the audience and the global audiences in the world, or even in Mexico. In that sense, I think now it's changing, and we have more close relationship with media, with journalists, and in academia, and also with the industry. Sorry.
I think in Poland we have the similar process, that academia and the world of practitioners, so media journalists are, especially television ones, are close and closer and closer. I think it's a good direction for both sides.
Exactly.
Okay. And the third question, what is the biggest challenge in media management today? Can you find these kind of challenges?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. I think we have different challenges. Okay, we know the digital transformation, the disruption of the industry, all the topics that we have been talking here. But for me, the most important thing, as I'm talking in terms of media business, is how to keep the audience, how to attract the young audiences, how to prepare people to really interest in media and news media, in what's happening in society, to make content who add really value to society, and even how to deal with the new technologies in terms of to protect the work of the people who works in media, even from our students. I mean, I think at this moment, content is the king, but we have different channels to distribute any kind of content that you know well. Not all the content is good, but we need to. More challenging is how to make profit, how to act with social responsibility, and how to be attractive for young generations, and how to build dialogue with different generations, and how to keep the attention from the people, not just in terms of entertainment, but also in terms of what's happening in the real world.
Well, the information.
Exactly. Information, yes.
Yeah, information and stable and credible information.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the key point right now. Okay. Summing up and ending our interesting conversation, I want to ask you about your impressions from Warsaw. You are first time in our capital city.
Oh, wow. I really love the city. I never think that it could be like it's real. You are lovely people. Your history, I'm surprised. It's not the same to study Poland from outside the history, as we know well, to being here and it's impressive to I don't have the
words.
Exactly the words. I mean, I'm really happy, interested.
Yeah, I understand. The feelings are so good that you cannot express it. Yes, and
Exactly.
I hope that I will have the chance to be in Mexico maybe sometime and meet you at other conference, scientific conference. Maybe then I'll have the chance to say wow about your culture and about the city. And this is your university is located in Mexico City or no?
No. Let me tell you.
Yes, I'm waiting.
Okay. I'm from Guadalajara, Universidad Panamericana from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. My country, Guadalajara, or my city, is Jalisco, is the land of the mariachi. Have you heard it? It's the land of the tequila. It's very close to the beaches, to the Ocean Pacific.
Yes.
We love culture, and we represent, I think, the Hispanic Latin American media society in all sense. And it's a beautiful. I mean, you will get fun, and also you can see, as we can see here, also how it's changing and the influence from other countries into our country, but also how we keep our tradition and how we keep our values as a Hispanic culture or Latin American culture, which is very different also even in Spain and to comparing with Mexico or other countries in Latin America.
We are happy and honored that we have guests from all over the world at our Warsaw conference. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thanks to you, Monica, for your work and your professionalism, and from your students and your excellent university.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. It's my honor to welcome our next guest, Castulus Kolo, professor of the Macro Media University, Munich, Germany. Professor is a board member of the International Media Management Academic Association and the president of the European Media Management Association. It's a great honor for us to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me here today.
First question, Professor, how to teach media management today? I know that this is hard question, but please try.
Yes, I try my best. We actually have what I call an education dilemma. In these days, we have new competences that are required that come together with AI, tech skills, numerical skills. So there's a lot of competences and skills we try to teach our students. On the other hand, it's not all about competences and knowledge. It's also about being able to reflect. And these turbulent times also need more reflection. So we have to find a compromise between educating knowledge, training skills, and preparing students for reflection. So, but I think both is needed to be a partner of media industry, which is the ultimate goal also. Most of our students want to find jobs, and we want to make media a better place to work in. Also, to impact on society in a beneficial way. That's our role as educators.
I think it's very, very important to show students how the reality outside looks like, because they have many dreams, many visions about that. Yes. And the purpose of the academia also is to tell them, yes, this is, you are right, and in this area you are wrong.
Also to question the status quo. Not everything necessarily should remain as it is. So that's why we need reflection, and we need, I mean, we all know that media play an important role in society. The young sometimes tend to forget that.
But this is our role to remind them. Okay, let's jump to second question. Why analyze media management today, and what should we pay particular attention to in these turbulent times?
Well, on the other, on the one hand, we see a democratization of the production of media content. We see all these influences around, and we need to better understand their motivation. Also, the way they take responsibility for what they do or not. Think of TikTok and the impact on the young. On the other hand, we have the traditional media companies with changing ownership, concentration of ownership, manipulation in the more autocratic regimes that we unfortunately also observe not so far from the heart of Europe. And the situation now changes even faster with AI. That is an accelerator of everything we do. It can make good things better, but also bad things worse. And it's we have to act on that as long as we can do it.
What should be the purpose of such conferences other than scientific?
I think they play an important role in being bridges also between at least two different realms. I was a media industry guy before I joined academia again. And this association took me by the hand and introduced me to the community. So it's this organization of the community to make it also visible to people who later joined them, also to the juniors, the new generation of academics. They are introduced, onboarded. But this is also an obligation. This is not a thing that happens automatically. It's it's a process that should be well managed by the boards of such institutions, and they should take it as a responsibility.
So the association, how do they help besides organizing this kind of conferences? Is there any other goal for the associations?
Well, yes, they also they bring together industry and academia. This is more or less successful. I think we should even try harder to do that. We need more impact in these days. We should have more influence, but this also has to do with perceived relevance. So we need to make ourselves seen, and we need to be on the relevant set of media industries, public service broadcasting, and I think this conference here in Warsaw is a very good example for the way it should go. We have some way ahead, but the colleagues here did a great job.
Before we started our conversation online, you said to me that this is your fourth time in Warsaw.
Yes, exactly.
But your roots, your family roots,
Yes.
are to the south of Poland, in the Silesia region.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit more?
Yes.
Because I'm also a Silesian girl.
Yes, my father was born in Silesia, and he grew up as a little boy in Chorzów. And I took the opportunity on my first trip to Warsaw to visit his neighborhood where he grew up. And I was fascinated by the country. I haven't seen the decades before. I was particularly impressed by the culinary tradition. I have to admit, I'm kind of a foodie. I'm very much into, because it tells a lot about the culture. I have a degree in cultural anthropology, and it tells you a lot how people come together, how they eat, how they prepare food. And this is what I enjoy every time I come to Warsaw and to Poland. And I'm surprised every time.
Okay, great to have people with Polish roots.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your time, and I wish you pleasant stay during the rest of
I
the
will.
journey. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
me here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is my honor to welcome our last today's guest, Professor Bjorn von Rimscha from Johannes Gutenberg Universität, Mainz. I hope my German pronunciation is correct.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
Great, Professor. You specialize in researching public media. Please tell us how modernity influenced the management of this type of media institution.
Well, the management of a public service media organization is usually a wee bit different from managing commercial media. We have the same situation that often management positions are filled with journalists.
Mm-hmm.
That's common, even if you look at commercial media. So it's the best journalist becomes the chief editor, so to say. But the difference between public service media and commercial media is that also the CEO, so to say, is often a journalist. So there's a stronger connection there than in commercial media. And of course you have to deal also with politicians, with policymakers and so on. And that's a second level to the management that you don't have to the same extent in a commercial media.
Do you think it's okay, this is right, that journalists are managers? What are the advantages and disadvantages of this kind of situation?
Well, an obvious advantage, looking from the perspective of an employee, is your job understands what you're doing.
Yes, of course.
And he knows about the troubles you're going through, or she knows, and so chances are you're understood in a way. But then again, this person is not trained as a manager. Is not trained in leadership, in how you motivate staff and so on, and therefore it's not clear whether it's a positive or negative. From a organizational perspective, I would say it's rather negative, because it might be better for the outcome of the whole organization that you have a manager that is trained as a manager, has some understanding of the peculiarities of the business, but his main or her main competence should be managing.
Managing. Yeah, I can observe it also in Polish media. There are constantly journalists as managers. Last time I conducted in-depth interviews with managers who were previously, all three of these people who I interviewed, they were working, and they are part of them are still working and dividing the work between managing and creating the programs. So this is really tough. This is really tough.
It's a similar situation in universities, actually, where a lot of leadership positions are filled with professors who are not trained as leaders.
Yeah. This is the problem not only of the group of journalists on television. Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move to the second question. Are public institutions, including media, keeping up with changes, e.g. in the area of artificial intelligence?
Well, I think artificial intelligence it's kind of a buzzword right now. Last year we were talking about blockchain. The year before we were talking about the metaverse.
Okay.
So there's a lot of hyperbole about it. But it is also fundamental change. And there's a lot of work in public media that can be automated using AI, just as it is somewhere else. I think the difference between public service media employing artificial AI and commercial media doing the same thing is we have a different expectance of the public in terms of how you deal with the AI. Do you take it for granted? Do you question the results? Or if you think of algorithm, there should be a difference between an algorithm that is that uses AI to maximize profit, and an algorithm that should maximize public impact, use for society. And therefore, I think the obligation for AI in the public service context is there's a higher need to understand what's actually happening in this black box, because we should not have a manipulative AI in a public service context, which might be problematic in the commercial context as well, but
Mm-hmm.
is more accepted there, I guess.
Yeah.
And so the standards must be even higher in how you deal with it, I guess.
This is the big question right now for the journalists, not only in the public sector, but also in this commercial. Professor, you are a founding member of a network for young researchers. How to educate future generations of media managers, how to encourage young people to this area?
Well, this network was basically for junior researchers, and actually one of my PhD candidates is now leading it. And so that was getting junior researchers into the community. But in my education job, I'm training. I'm running a master on media management. So that's exactly your question. How do we get them there? And it's kind of a tricky situation because you need to train people as managers, although they are graduates. And you won't become a graduate right after studying. So somehow we have to anticipate what will they be doing 10 years' time, and how to make sure that they will remember what they learned at university.
The question is whether the future won't change, yes? Because the conditions can change in 10 years.
So it's a high level of uncertainty on both sides, so to say. But what we try is to, that's maybe why I reacted the way I did on AI, that we don't always focus on the buzzword of the day, but on the fundamentals. And
what are the fundamentals?
Well, that media is a business that is about culture and making money. And that managing journalists or media producers is different because you're working with creative people. And if you work with creative people, you can't always employ the same strategies you would do with other people. Because they have different motivations, they have different a different level of commitment to their job, to what they do. And so from a media managing perspective, it's training future media managers in how to harness this motivation, but also make them reflect on maybe not harness it too much, because if journalists like yourself, you're motivated and you can easily be used as a tool for a manager more than you're actually able to do. And so finding the balance between working with the people the way they are intrinsically motivated and not extracting them as a mere tool.
Balance, this is the key word. Okay, first time in Warsaw?
No, second time.
Second time. The biggest surprise right now?
I love the bike lanes.
Okay. With this great impression, we will thank you for watching and stay tuned. This is not the end. Tomorrow we will be back. Thank you.